Police work is not as clean cut as the TV depicts it.
You're under arrest. Come down, Aaron.
It can be slow, dangerous, and full of deception. And our next guest knows all about the dangers of being involved with the criminal underworld from the inside. In his new book, Undercurrent, we find out what life really is like when you're undercover. Please welcome to Triple M's Rush Hour, former undercover policeman, Jason Somerville.
Jason, welcome, mate. How are you? I'm good, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Congratulations on firstly being a self-published author. That's wonderful. And sharing this book, Undercurrent. Now, can we just start from the beginning? How does a young man join the police force, but then to transition into undercover? How can I ask how that happens?
So the policing part came about. I was sitting up late one night, lost, not knowing what to do. There was an ad on TV that said join the police, so I did. So I joined the police, and I was out one night with my then fiance. We had a blue, jumped in a cab, drove home, and he said, "Mate, yeah, it looked like you're having a bad day." And I said, "Yeah, I am." Told him the story. He said, "I can give you a little pick-me-up if you want." And me going, "What do you mean?" He said, offered me some speed, and I went, "Man, let me take your number."
Yeah.
And phoned it in. They said, "Do you want to do a buy bust?" I said, "What's that?" They told me. I went and did it. And then I got an email a couple of hours.
The cab driver, after you had a blue with your missus, has tried to trade speed, giving you to sell drugs to you to get you back on track.
Yep.
And you booked him in the process.
Well, I didn't book him.
Yeah, but somebody else did.
Someone else did.
How unlucky for a cab driver to try and help a mate out.
We use different ways to help mates, so it's
If he's illegal, I'll say this now. Yeah, very much so.
you fell into the undercover work in a way, and did you, I don't know a better term, did you get a bit of a kick or a rush out of the first time you did it with that cabin? You thought, oh, this is an avenue I want to walk down?
Oh, yeah. It was a rush. It really was. You know, I'd done acting at school and that sort of stuff. I'd applied to NIDA. Oh, well. And this was just me, I thought. Yeah. So when they said, "Do you want to do it?" I went, "Yeah, all right, I'll do that."
Okay, so you're obviously Jason Somerville, and then you get an alias.
If
Right. Who gives you the alias, and then how do you get given a case and go, you've got to infiltrate into something like that?
So the name, I chose the name Michael.
Yeah.
The reason behind that was that my fiance's ex-boyfriend, his name was Michael, and she was seeing him between seeing me and then getting engaged to me. So if someone yelled out Michael, I was always going to look around.
Yeah.
When it comes to the case, people get arrested. Like old mate, the taxi driver, he would have been given the option, do you want to become an informant? The operations get vetted, and then we go out and meet the informant, and then go out and meet the bad guys.
So you're undercover, Michael. How much different was he to you as a human being? Like, are you playing a nastier, more like street version of Jason, or?
Chalk and cheese, I think. Michael was who he needed to be. If someone required that street thug, then Michael was the street thug.
I'm fascinated by this because you're in a relationship in your other life, morally sound, law-abiding citizen.
Yes.
But when you become, and it is acting, and we see, performances and movies and stuff like that, you have to adapt to a role. So how does a loved one in your life who doesn't have to separate their life understand that you might have to take drugs, God forbid, you might have to belt someone, you might have to be romantically involved potentially with somebody that's got all to try and get to the end goal? Does that put a strain on a relationship in real life?
Look, yes, it does. In my case, it was a little bit more exacerbated in the fact that my then partner's father did a similar job when he was younger.
He'd been an undercover cop.
No, a little bit of a different Australian organisation.
Okay.
Right. So she'd lived through that, and then all of a sudden her husband-to-be was going, "Hey, I'm going to go be an undercover cop." It was like, you could just see her looking going, "I don't want this to happen."
Jason Somerville. Michael is the undercover cop, our guest today, author of Undercurrent, The Hidden Cost of Going Undercover, a book that will be out on Amazon, Big W stores, and actually all good bookstores too, July 28th. Jason is going to stick with us next and detail his scariest day as an undercover copper, the day He felt like his life may be over. It's next on Triple M.
In the rush hour, Yui Dobbo and Elliot still with us. Fascinating story. Book, in fact, Undercurrent, the hidden cost of going undercover. Former undercover cop, a Queensland cop formerly, Jason Somerville, still with us. Jason, you told us your alter ego, his name was Michael. You were mixing with some of the worst people in the city of Brisbane and across the state as well, busting drug dealers, some of the worst hombres. Tell us, what was the most dangerous day out on the job? Was there a day where you felt like your life was in grave danger?
So I was doing a buy. I made that buy happen quicker than it probably would have. I just went out and said, hey, hook me up and I'll give you, yada, 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 yada. And they said, okay. And so the buy position had changed and we were in a street in Everton Park. I couldn't see the person we were supposed to meet, and all of a sudden the back door opens up and it's don't look round. And then he goes, do you have the money? And I've gone, yeah, I've got it here. And he goes, right. And he's put something up on my shoulder and he goes, take this. And I've grabbed it and he's let it go just before I grabbed it. It's fallen down on the seat, behind the seat of the driver. And so he was sitting behind me in the passenger seat. So I had to reach down behind the driver's seat to pick it up. And I seriously thought to myself, that's it. This guy knows and I'm going to get topped here. He's going to do something, because I wasn't allowed to look at him and I had to reach down across from him.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was literally, I got back to my car and I was shaking.
Hose line. How did you get out? When does a moment come where you go, I'm done? Is it that your loved ones are just like, you're going to lose everything if you continue to go down this path? Is that? Because I watched Donnie Brasco and a Lioness. Like they're the only two sort of relations. Like Lioness is obviously very much adapted, and Donnie Brasco, he was like, he undercover. He nearly lost everything, but then he went into a safe house and changed his whole identity. Did you have to have that happen pretty much?
No, look, God forbid in those days, I don't think we had, we had the bikies and things like that. And I know a few people who I worked with who still, are reasonably protected when I did it. So the people who were doing it the early 90s, there was no cutoff period. It was like, you keep going until
You get the kill.
yeah, or you burn out, whichever happens first. They introduced a 2-year limit because that was one of the recommendations that came up. They said after 2 years, we might be starting to cause some harm to these people. So that then became a standard. And I was one of the first ones to go through that. But 2 years in, that's it. You're out. 2 years and 4 months, maybe, whatever.
So you wanted to keep going. You would have kept going.
Oh yeah.
Oh, well. What is it? I mean, we'll let you go in a moment, Jason. We're so thankful for your time. Undercurrent, the hidden cost of going undercover, going to be Big W stores nationally, available on Amazon to 28th of July. Even now, and this is years on from you doing it, I would live in a bit of fear. Like, I would be worried I'd run into a guy from 25 years ago that I played that role and I'm a totally different man.
Not since leaving the police, but since leaving undercover, I remember being at the casino down here one night, having a few drinks on Christmas night, and I'm standing at the bar, and I look to my right, and it was the brother of one of the targets that I worked on in Kingaroy. And it was like, oh, man. And sort of walk away, and I said to the person I was with, we're going. Why? And I told her, and she went, oh, okay.
Yeah. So that is very real. Like you'll run into it, and you've never had anybody recognise you since and go, I remember you when you were a police officer. No,
No, so look,
they will now when they get the ball.
oh, maybe. And it's funny because I've had some people sort of read and they go, oh, I know that person, or I know that person, or
Yeah.
things that happened around Brisbane at the time. One of my informants and some of the targets were people I went to school with. So I knew on a personal level, and they did not know it was me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
This book is a must.
Yeah.
Undercurrent, the hidden cost of going undercover. Jason Somerville, a Queensland cop for a longer period of time. Undercover cop, we know. As I said, 28th of July, Amazon, Big W stores nationally, all good bookstores as well. Number one, thanks for your service, the work you did, Jason. And number two, thanks for coming in on Triple M's Rush Hour today. We could have asked you 30,000 more questions, but we appreciate you answering some for us.
Thank you very much for having me.